Hi, it's Paul from Model Builder International again. What we're going to have a flick through the pages of today is the latest issue of U-Boat in Focus. This is number 14. So let's have a look through the pages and see what's inside this issue. Okay, so what do we get? To start with, inside the cardboard envelope was this flyer, which goes through. There's their last 4 books. There's reviews of those all on the site. There's another 2 books, so 6 books. But most importantly, for me anyway, here's planned new books for 2017-18. One on the U-552, the Boat of the Red Devil, and another one, Emblems of the Luftwaffe Volume 1. So those should be coming out later this year, next year. So it's pretty neat. And over on the other side, we've got here's the decals that they do, Luftwaffe decals, to match up with some of the aircraft you'll see in the Luftwaffe in Focus series, and also a whole bunch of U-boat decals to match up with some of the U-boats you've seen in the U-boat in Focus series. And then just a couple of bits on about the U-boat and Luftwaffe in Focus series. So enough of that. Let's see what's actually in U-boat in Focus. This is number 14. So basically this is not your average sort of magazine. Basically it's the latest photographs that have resurfaced after all this time, things people have found out, and the latest research. Basically there's nothing in here that you're going to find published elsewhere, and 99% of the photos have never seen the light of a published page before either. So start off. That's the inside of a Type 2 U-boat. Apparently there's very few photographs of inside one of those, mostly because the things are so damn cramped there's no space. So there's the contents. All the captions are in English and German. The English is perfect. Captions are really good. Basically they're done obviously by people who make a living looking at the history of U-boats. Editorial, as always, basically says a little bit about a special area of operations, but I'll talk more about that as we get onto the article. Readers forum, basically people contact the publishers with more information on photographs they've published, and sometimes people send in more photographs that match up with articles that were written before. And here's one such thing. And turn over, and Type 2B U-boats. As you can see, the photos are all clear. They're real good quality. What they've started doing is putting copyright marks on the photographs, just to try and dissuade people from copying these. Apparently people are copying these, scanning them, and trying to sell them off as their own. So Type 7C U-boats, loading torpedoes, on the Type 7Cs, and again a concrete conning tower, a pith helmet. That's a Type 9B U-boat. It's an interesting photograph. You don't see many of these. The guy must have been hanging over the side of the boat at that point. A conning tower. Apparently this is the only photograph, the first and last photograph anybody's seen of this particular paint scheme. So if anybody has any photographs of this U-boat with that paint scheme on, a lot of people will be quite interested. A couple of colour photographs. Colour photographs are obviously quite rare in Germany during the wartime. I think he's smiling because he's coming home. Journey through the Bay of Biscay. Okay, this is a big article. Usually when you talk about U-boats, we're familiar with talking about the North Atlantic, mostly Arctic, Mediterranean, Southern Atlantic. But I don't remember reading hardly anything about operations in the Eastern Baltic up by Leningrad. So here is a whole big article explaining basically lots of details about what was going on up there. Obviously the Finland swapped sides in 1944. There's a nice diorama picture, basically U-boat covered in trees. And they used to have a base on the little islands in the middle of that end of the Baltic. And here's a complete 3-page spread of a U-boat. Is this particular one here. You can see the black and white photographs, and they reproduced it in colour. And there's a bit more information here, a bit more of a close-up, and more photographs. And there's some first-hand dialogue in here as well, from submariners. There's ramming a small wooden fishing boat. This is taken up by Finland. I've only seen things like this before in the Mediterranean. And still about in the Baltic. Now documents. I think this is the document given to a chief engineer when they finished training, I believe. Basically these guys had they spent more time training than anybody else. The training boat. Here's something you don't see. They're wearing straw boaters, and the crew here are wearing polars. So it's all to do with basically being ticked off at the Luftwaffe for shooting up their U-boat. And here's the story behind that incident. Now it comes down to collision between 2 U-boats, remains of a conning tower. They're lucky to make it back. And almost at the end, this U-boat's just been launched. You can still see it's got the camouflage scaffolding still on top of it. And then this last article, what's the Turkish fez about? Basically these 2 photographs here, there's a colour one, black and white one, with some pretty unusual headgear. There's people wearing Turkish fezzes in both of them. And at the moment, nobody knows why. There's obviously going to be some reason behind it, but at the moment, nobody has a clue what that's all about. So, another interesting read. It was about 55 odd pages. Lots of, as I said previously, unpublished photographs in there, and lots of good stories, high quality stuff. Best place to get these is from the publishers, and if you get a subscription, that's the cheapest way to get them as well. That's where I buy mine. I've got a subscription from there. They arrive double wrapped inside cardboard envelopes. They've always arrived in perfect condition from Germany. So if you're into U-boats, this is the magazine that you need to be subscribing to.